Happy Friday. Welcome back to another episode of Murder, Mysteries, and More. My name's Kaylee.
My name is Desi.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell next to the subscribe button to turn on post notifications. And by the way, thank you for those people who voted. The winner for this week's video is the Bermuda Triangle mystery.
Before we get into this mystery, we always encourage those who have useful information to any unsolved case, please report it to your local police and sheriff department. Throughout history, many ships and aircrafts have sailed and flown through this little mysterious area called the Bermuda Triangle. Since the mid-19th century, there have been multiple reports of disappearances of planes and ships, but no debris has been found. The biggest question is, what is really going on with the Bermuda Triangle?
The location of the Bermuda Triangle. The Bermuda Triangle is basically an imaginary triangle that covers hundreds of thousands square miles of the ocean. It starts from the southeast coast of Florida, Fort Lauderdale, and then it connects to the islands of Puerto Rico and Bermuda. This is a very high traffic area for ships and planes. You may ask, how did it get its name? In 1964, an article in the pulp magazine Argosy was published and linked a few mysterious disappearances in the area. The articles discussed the strange disappearance of the u.s.s. Cyclops, which was a Navy supply ship in 1918. It also talks about how several military bomber planes vanished during a practice run in 1945. The disappearance of the u.s.s. Cyclops. The Cyclops was nearly a 550 feet long ship that held a crew of 306 people. It carried around 11,000 tons of manganese. Between the years 1910, she carried coal and moved refugees. She sailed the Baltic Sea, the Caribbean, and Mexico. In 1917, America entered the World War I. The Cyclops was then used to transport coal to fuel ships throughout the world. In March 1918, she left Brazil carrying manganese, which they used for steelmaking. She voyaged to Barbados to resupply before making her way back to Baltimore.
This message was weather fair, all well, end quote. The Cyclops never made it back to Baltimore during her 9-day journey. She vanished without an SOS, which is a distress signal. The Santa Fe magazine featured the u.s.s. Cyclops, and here's what they had to say about the disappearance. Quote, "She just disappeared as though some gigantic monster of the sea had grabbed her, men and all, and sent her into the depths of the ocean, and the suddenness of her destruction is amplified by the absence of any wireless calls for help being picked up by any ship along the route," end quote. Some people theorize that because of the war, it was a victim of a German submarine or a raider. However, through time and research, this seems like it's very unlikely to be the case, especially since it was very unlikely German military craft had been in that area. Months earlier, the crew complained that Captain George W. Worley had been drunk and unable to steer the ship properly. The u.s.s. Navy put out an official statement of the disappearance. Quote, "The disappearance of the ship has been one of the most baffling mysteries in the annals of the Navy. All attempts to locate her have proved unsuccessful," end quote.
It sounds like he might have something to do with it.
Possibly. You never know.
Yep. I mean, he was drunk, according to multiple counts, so that's not a great mixture for steering a ship.
Yeah, probably not.
Now into the flight bomber disappearance. December 5th, 1945, 5 U.S. Navy bomber planes. They were a part of the training Flight 19. They took off. They left Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Naval Air Station to complete a 3-hour training mission. Once the mission was complete, they were supposed to go east for an additional 67 miles, then turn north for 73 miles, and return back to the naval station. But there was a slight problem. 2 hours into the flight, something went haywire. The leader of the squadron reported his compass and his backup compass both had failed. He was unsure of his exact position. The other planes were dealing with the same issue. Their compasses malfunctioned. The radio tried to find their location, but all attempts were unsuccessful. Around 6:20 p.m., a distorted radio transmission from the squadron leader was heard. The squadron leader told the men that due to lack of fuel, they needed to prepare to leave their aircraft.
Several land radar stations determined that the planes were somewhere north of the Bahamas and east of the Florida coast. 7:27 p.m., a search and rescue Mariner aircraft took off with 13 others to look for the bomber planes. 3 minutes later, the Mariner aircraft said that their mission was under the way, but once again those planes vanished. 7:50 p.m., a tanker on the coast of Florida said he heard an explosion, possibly implying that the search and rescue airplane had exploded, ? The odd disappearance of the bomber planes and the search and rescue time would lead to one of the biggest searches ever. Unfortunately, there has been no trace of any of the men or their aircraft, and this is very, very strange because you would think you would have found some remnants of, like, scraps or anything like that in the ocean.
Even, like, pieces of metal.
Yeah. But naval officials believe that nothing was recovered due to stormy weather. They think that the weather destroyed any type of evidence. The story of the Lost Squadron is one of the stories that really brought the Bermuda Triangle to life. These are just two well-known disappearances that the Bermuda Triangle is responsible. But there are hundreds and hundreds of other disappearances that nobody really talks about.
That is true. And I do want to also mention in Fort Lauderdale, they do actually have a museum for the Lost Squadron. I haven't been there, but I think that would be a really cool museum to visit one day.
For sure, yeah.
And that's a lot of men that went missing that night.
Yeah, for sure. That sucks, honestly.
It does. Now into theories of what exactly is the Bermuda Triangle. So first of all, the Bermuda Triangle's geographic location is notorious for tropical disturbances and hurricanes. Some of the disappearances happened before we began naming hurricanes, and the amount of research we have about hurricanes now is much, much better. In the 1950s, the U.S. Weather Bureau began using aircraft to track hurricanes. They gather wind speed, air pressure, and temperature. It wasn't until 1960 the first weather satellite, the Tyros 1, was launched. Both the u.s.s Cyclops and the bomber plane disappearances happened many years before this. Also note that the bomber plane talks about very stormy weather, hence it could have been a hurricane. And yeah, Bermuda is very prone to get hit by these hurricane storms, and being on a boat or flying in these storms is very dangerous. So it would make sense that hurricanes could be responsible for these disappearances.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the disappearances, the last known communication that they've heard from some of these people are talking about stormy weather. That also is a reason why it could be that.
Yeah.
On top of this, note that the Gulf Stream, which is a warm ocean current that flows from the Gulf of Mexico parallel to the U.S. East Coast, is known to cause weather to deteriorate rapidly. Rogue waves also could be an explanation, and rogue waves happen whenever these giant 30-foot waves collide with each other, creating a freakish 100-foot wave. This would make it easy to capsize boats. Also, if you had a boat and they got caught between two of these rogue waves, the pressure could snap the boat.
Yeah, it could.
And that would not be very cash money.
Not cash money at all. On to our next area, which is magnetic disturbances and methane deposits, which is very interesting, of course. But Earth's magnetic pole isn't the same as the geographic North Pole, so compasses don't really point to true north. Agonic lines are imaginary lines in Earth that connect the north and south magnetic poles. They also pass through those points without magnetic declination, they are the true north. Anyways, the theory goes that these captains are not for accounting for discrepancies in their compass readings and are making huge mistakes which could bring them off course, of course. So, on top of this, the waters of the Caribbean are shallow, which could lead them into running into hidden shoals. Another theory is that the triangle is home to a large-scale magnetic anomaly which could cause navigational mistakes. But no evidence suggests that it is true. The most recent theory is that methane deposits are responsible, and for those of you who don't know what methane deposits are, they are huge bubbles released from large pockets of gas, which turns the sea into a bubbly bowl that swallows ships whole. But according to the U.S. Geological Survey geologist Bill Dillon, the last time known for something like this to happen in the triangle is estimated to have been over 15,000 years ago. So there's a lot of theories and a lot of questions, but of course there's very limited information for these theories.
So Desi, out of all these theories, which one do you feel like is the most reasonable explanation?
I feel like it's a toss-up for me between like tropical disturbances or even like magnetic disturbances would make a lot of sense, because like if there's something like a magnetic anomaly going on in the triangle, it can cause, like, you know, they're not going to be reading their compasses correctly. So they could, like, crash into land, or they could get lost and die at sea. Yeah. Like, anything could happen. But also, like, storms are going to swallow you up. For sure.
Yep, definitely.
Oh, yeah, there's always an open chance for human error.
Yeah, because, like, with the Cyclops, many accounts of the captain being drunk.
Oh, yeah. If he was drunk and he was trying to read a compass and this was going on, for sure.
Then with the bomber planes, the squadron leader, he wasn't sure of his location, and that might have been his first time flying over there, because he mostly flew previously where the Keys were, and some people believe that he got the Keys mixed up with the Bahamas where they were flying. So that's also another case of human error.
That would suck if that was the case, because damn, man. How do you get that mixed up, though? Like, I don't... Okay, they're two different directions, but...
It might have, like I said, been his first time flying that path. Now to our favorite Reddit comments. So the first one is by ZZTop610. Why don't we hear anything disappearing in the Bermuda Triangle anymore? Which I think is a great question. And then Mike_B_Nibble says, look at it like this. The Bermuda Triangle is fucking huge and also has a history of heavy ship traffic and is generally in the area where most Atlantic hurricanes form in transit. Also, until fairly recently in history, once the ship left port, it was very difficult or impossible to communicate with them. So lots of ships, dangerous waters, huge area, and a lack of word from the ships going missing led people to believe there was something supernatural going on when there wasn't. And that is true. Like, our technology has advanced a lot. A lot of these disappearances happened, you know, from the 1970s and earlier. Like with the Cyclops, that was 1918, yeah. And then with the Squadron, that was 1945. I mean, that was several years ago.
Yeah. Baz Monkey says, because stuff was never disappearing in the Bermuda Triangle, particularly more than anywhere else, and we figured that out. A GLFee6057 responded to them and said the reason more boats vanished there was because it's highly traveled a highly traveled part of the ocean, which is a similar thing with car accidents. You may have heard that you're X% more likely to get in an accident within Y miles of your home. Yeah, that's because most of your driving is done within Y miles of your home.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I mean...
Mortal 4789. It's full. It was invented before recycling, and there's only so much space down there to store all the ships and planes.
Bajor Nardal says, I'm guessing that better communication equipment removes a lot of mystery behind the failures that do happen. Previous theories were pretty much based on, like, but you can't prove that mystical forces or aliens didn't make the ship disappear, and he was experienced, so human error is absolutely impossible. Certainly less likely than aliens.
Watch_over_me. Same reason we don't hear about UFOs and Bigfoot sightings either. We developed technology that made it easy to prove this stuff, yet no one can prove it. So eventually we all wrote for what it is, old folk tales.
This one, though... Wait, did you read this one by Mortal 4789? Where it says it's full, it was invented before... Okay. I just want to make sure. I'm like, is that a different one or the same one? Salt Blackberry, 1903. Make Bermuda great again. Oh, no. T.Y. Vaquero. Yeah, we've regressed to flat Earth now. That's why.
Wow.
Well, this one, Warp Penguin 55. What if the Bermuda Triangle itself disappeared into the Bermuda Triangle?
That'd be wild.
That would be funny.
Amber Energy Time. Apparently the new thing is the Alaska Triangle. That's the thing as well. Just came across a show about it last night. It's basically the entire interior of the state. Not super surprising that lots of people disappear and planes crash in that environment, but TV hypes things up like that. That is true.
True. Johnny7421. We don't question mark? I lost my keys there just a few days ago.
Well, how are you gonna get to work?
I guess they're fucked, right?
Right. No work for you.
No. Get fucked, bitch.
Amy Snatcher. So I've never really considered it as an adult, but looking into it now, and the timeline is pretty convenient with the start of the Cold War. I don't know why, but I feel like it could be definitely something post-World War II era the U.S. would do. I just don't know why. The timeline / position isn't quite right for something Cuba related.
Oh, this one's a good one. Abstract mirror, because when Amelia Earhart crashed, she actually destroyed the vortex under the ocean, Pacific Rim style.
She did.
She did.
And we have a video of Amelia Earhart if you like this kind of stuff.
Yeah, go check it out. Fox Realistic 3370. Even another dimension is tired of our shit and doesn't want anything to do with us. That's real stuff right there.
That is. There's also apparently a thing called Underwater Area 51.
What? I've never heard of that before.
Basically Area 51 underwater.
Oh. Oh, this one. I like this one. Giza, the lizard overlords who control the media are keeping it a secret.
Them damn lizard people.
Them damn lizard people. That motherfucker right there is not real!
Know who's a lizard person?
Who? Presley. No, I'm just kidding.
No. Mark Zuckerberg.
Bro, people say Beyonce's a lizard person.
They say everybody. The whole Illuminati is a lizard person.
Bro, it's so funny.
This one is by Null-99. Redditors who have actually sailed through the Bermuda Triangle. Did you have any strange experiences? If yes, what happens? And then Shmeep says, does a cruise count? If so, nothing really weird happened except for the fact that my phone connected to Italian data in the middle of the sea for a couple minutes.
Interesting.
Well then.
Geek working. Unfortunately, the people with the best stories will never be heard from again. Facts, maybe?
Deleted. I took a cruise to Bermuda, and one of the restaurants on the island was called Boner Bar.
Hell yeah, boner bar! Before X theme starts playing. The Great White Snark, the Bermuda Love Triangle.
Yeah. That's funny.
Oh, this one's a good one from he. I'm pretty sure that the Bermuda Triangle has shifted. It's no longer out to sea. All the weird shit is in Florida now.
Florida is kind of crazy.
They have a lot of fucking crazy stuff happen in the past couple years too.
They have.
Like, wow. That's...
XX-Bioraptor_XX. The Bermuda Triangle itself is not a dangerous place. It has a few spots of dangerous places for a good reason. It's true that people have gone missing there, but there is no supernatural cause. It's the fact that many tropical storms pass through Bermuda. There are also some blue holes, which sometimes create whirlpools, nothing that doesn't happen in many places.
Deleted. My parents, who I don't remember meeting, went to the Bermuda Triangle for their honeymoon. Quad octane. I had to let that sink into me.
Oh boy. K. Perkins, 1982. I've been on a dozen cruises each time I went through the Bermuda Triangle. I developed horrible symptoms. I embarrassed myself dancing, spent too much money, woke up with headaches and nausea, and one time my husband sang "Let It Go" at the top of his lungs in the casino and had to be removed. It could be that we get that unlimited drink package, but I'm gonna blame it on the Bermuda Triangle. What the heck?
Mr. Happy 80. Sail through it weekly working on the cruise ships. Nothing noteworthy has ever happened. South Asia, on the other hand, sailing around there is always interesting.
Psychedeli_sandwich. I like that name.
Yeah.
I went to Bermuda recently. I learned why a lot of ships go missing. It's nuts. Part of the triangle lies on its fault line. Every now and then, small gas bubbles will be released from the crevice and start rising to the surface. As it rises, the water pressure decreases and the bubble will expand rapidly. So much that there was once a bubble that half the size of a dime at the bottom of the ocean is now the size of an aircraft carrier.
Holy shit.
That is insane.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh, here's an interesting one. Deleted. Not me, but I met a guy who did. About 6 years ago, summer 2013 to be precise, I volunteered with the local historical archives at an exhibit about Blackbeard the pirate. One of the people who came in was a submarine veteran who served in the 1960s. We got to talking about his service, and he told me that he once went through the triangle while submerged in his submarine during a storm. I asked him if anything weird or unusual happened. He told me that certain instruments, such as the compass, wouldn't work. They had mild electrical problems, nothing serious or threatening to the well-being of the crew or the sun itself. He said most of the crew had extreme nerves during the voyage, but subsided as they left the area. I honestly don't remember the name of the submarine.
Jesus says it's okay. Says, I've flown through the Bermuda Triangle. What should have been a 12-hour flight ended up being only 7 hours. We arrived 5 hours ahead of schedule and a ton of gas left. Pilot also said there was a storm, but we didn't feel anything on the plane. Craziest experience I've ever had.
That is pretty crazy.
Yeah, they were ahead of schedule. Like, holy shit.
There's been a couple other people who said that they felt like they ran ahead of schedule.
Why? Mr. Randy Tutelage. I swam in the Bermuda Triangle and a fish bit my penis through my swim trunks. Thankfully, there wasn't much to bite.
What the hell?
Move on from the weird.
Okay, so this last one is by Today I Learned. TIL that the Bermuda Triangle isn't statistically more dangerous than almost any other place on the world's ocean per capita. The traffic there is just much higher. Oh my god. Why is this person's name? Big Boss Big Hawk. When I was 14, I literally had nightmares about the Triangle. I was led to believe it was the most dangerous place in the world. and any sorry, this is name, and any plane or ship that went never came out. Holy shit, my first 500 upvotes. Thank you, kind people of Reddit.
Haley, if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see they're talking about DB Cooper.
That's crazy. I will say though that, I mean, my parents, like, my dad kind of did the same thing. He would play those, like, History Channel, and, like, we did watch Bermuda Triangle, and I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna go in another dimension. As an adult, though, I'm like, why was I freaking out?
It's like, we're not going in it. We're not even close to it. Like,
that's like whenever your parents say, don't turn on the car light while they're driving.
That's true, though. Somebody said, somewhere under the Bermuda waves, Elvis, Hitler, and DB Cooper are sitting at a bar in downtown Atlanta laughing at the rest of them.
What the heck?
I'm gonna skip a couple comments, but this is by Tobacco is Radioactive. If that gay almost portal movie I watched last night taught me anything, it's that DB Cooper died fighting Bigfoot.
Wow. We do have a video about DB Cooper. That man was crazy, but we do have a video if you are interested in that.
Bro, he escaped, and I'm still baffled at how he fucking did it. Ice 9. The Bermuda Triangle is fucking huge. It's bigger than any state in the U.S., bigger than Alaska. Nobody's making spooky stories about the mystery of I-95, about how every year dozens of people mysteriously get into car accidents and many of them die.
True.
True.
Arco Sapphire says, Flight 19 is just so ridiculous when you read through what happened. Quotation marks. So the route has been fine, but these islands kind of look like other islands on either side of Florida, so let's assume we just fly east for ages instead of west like originally intended. End quote. Even one of the pilots in the training said they should just fly west, but no, the squadron instructor was just so sure that he couldn't have possibly mistaken the island for another, even though he thought it would have been nowhere near the flight path. And he thought if he kept flying, he would make it back to Florida. I don't know what's going on in his brain.
Deleted plot twist. It was really the Bermuda Triangle lying, so you would feel safer sailing through it. That would be a plot twist, though.
That would be.
Big brain plot twist.
Oh boy wonder. Man, I was so big into BM, UFOs, Bigfoot, Nessie, all that when I was a kid. I miss those days of wonder and mystery. Now everything is debunked in like 5 seconds, or no one talks about that. Those books consumed me, and I devoured every book that I could get my hands on. I miss that stuff and the way it made me think and wonder about the unknown real talk. Yeah, I do love mysteries, but yeah, I definitely feel this person.
Bro, Bod has a Hassad, Bob. If you go to pool, you're 100% more likely to drown in your backyard.
Dang.
The seeking ignorance, probably only like 97% more likely. I've seen people do stupid shit with hoses without having a pool. No.
People have, I mean, you probably don't want to know what people have done with hoses.
People are retards, I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah. People are idiots.
They can be, sometimes.
Oh my god, someone said Aliens, Discovery Channel guy. Yeah, I swear, on that channel, they just blame everything on aliens.
Aliens. Just aliens. Shove them up my butt, aliens.
I would adopt a little green alien.
Alright, let's make an alien baby.
Yeah.
Let's decide it now. Let's do it in D&D.
Deliminator. I was in a flight going over Bermuda towards Mexico when the plane unexpectedly started losing altitude. Naturally, many passengers were freaking out as there was no announcement, and you know the Bermuda Triangle. As it turned out, it was due to the passengers throwing stuff at the airline crew. Cue an unscheduled landing and armed Bermudan police surrounding the plane.
Bruh. Are you kidding me?
People need to calm down in these planes. Like, chillax.
Yeah, they do.
Like, don't be throwing stuff at the workers.
Yeah, are you fucking baboon?
They're out here giving you free Coke, free iced Coke and little pretzels, so don't be throwing shit at them.
Bruh, if I had free Coke, I'd be happy and content.
Yeah.
I know, I was making a joke!
I know.
In conclusion, the Bermuda Triangle is a very weird, mysterious triangle. Although many ships and planes have vanished through this region, it doesn't even make it in the top 10 most dangerous waters for shipping. Bermuda leaves us with more questions than answers, but we would love to know what your thoughts are, like always. Thank you for listening to another episode of Murders, Mysteries, and More. Remember to always keep your eyes open because the Bermuda Triangle might just grab you up and swallow you whole.